Hello, hi, and welcome. I'm Bunny. It's so wonderful to be here with you today. Before we jump into the video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below to tell me how your day is going. Now let's game on. So this video was initially meant to be something entirely different, but OBS decided to crash and corrupted like 10 hours of footage. I was making a Five Nights at Freddy's inspired build as a final speed build before starting a fun little legacy challenge, loosely inspired by a series Plumbella used to have on her channel called Gracie's Story. I love Plumbella. I do use some CC when I make Sims. It's mostly just makeup and a few shoes. My partner uses our clothing CC and hair CC most of the time. I also use the Kajiko eyelashes a lot since they're very pretty and they make me happy. But otherwise, I don't like to use a lot of CC because I have uploaded Sims in the past for friends on console. So, about this legacy challenge, it's not really a challenge. I am planning a story out for like 5 generations of this little family, and I'm really hoping it's going to be fun. The current generation consists of mom and dad, older sister, and then our main character. Currently, they are all going by the Doe form of alias, John Doe, Jane Doe, Sally Doe, and currently our main character is called Kitty Doe until I can find out better names for them. They are meant to be native to Mount Komorebi, so I can take suggestions, but I will also be doing my own research into naming traditions for Japanese people, because that's where Mount Komorebi is based off of. We can talk a little about how I make Sims for a minute, because I know that everyone has a different method. My partner thought my method was especially interesting. I'm incredibly meticulous and I work from the bones up. For example, say I'm making a plus-sized character who used to be skinny, like the mom in this household. I look at what kind of weight she gained and why, and I slim her down first to mold her old body before putting her weight on her and adjusting accordingly. Mom had 2 children, and while she's obviously more stunning than ever, that changed her body. Part of that change includes stretch marks, weight gain, and other semi-irreversible things. But I love her, and I think she's beautiful, and I think she made 2 very lovely children. I also give each sim specific color palettes. In this case, Dad has a very cool, dark color palette with a lot of black and hints of blue, though I did not hesitate to give him the occasional pop of red or pink. I picked these colors because I felt they best represented him as a character. To his children, he's a bit of a mystery and incredibly hard to read, hence he wears a lot of black. He's not closed off from them, hence his ability to wear warm colors. He simply considers his time before being a parent done, and thus has never told his kids about his past, thus he seems closed off to them. To him, just being their dad and a husband to his wife is enough for him. He doesn't like to linger on his past too much, though he was considered one of the most handsome men in his high school. Wink, wink. Mom has a very light, warm, earthy color palette with lots of cream, pink, brown, and a hint of green. I wanted her to feel bright and incredibly feminine, sweet and soft. I wanted to make her a safe-feeling character. She's pretty and homely, and she has pretty hair that she always wears in a loose side braid, and her eyes are kind. I tried to give her very soft eyes. I also gave her a wide nose, because when you're pregnant, your nose can get bigger and never fully shrink back down. It's why I narrowed the noses of her children. They have the width of her pre-pregnancy nose. I love her party outfit especially, though. It feels so princessy and sweet, yet it suits her more mature nature. And I just loved seeing pink on her. The pink and white or pink and cream combo was really pretty. The oldest child, the oldest girl, a young adult, she has a green color scheme with pink and black accents. She's meant to be a perfect blend of her parents' color schemes, a sort of representation of how she's their quote unquote perfect child. And those quotes are huge because she's not actually perfect. She's got her mom's eyes and her dad's nose, and, well, a little bit of a mix of her parents' noses. But I also gave her her dad's jaw, though I ended up softening it a lot, just so that it suited her more feminine face. She's meant to have, again, that equal blend of her parents' features. I did do some research on everyday fashion in Japan for the majority of people, though I much prefer and love street fashion like Decoraki and Fairy-ki. But everyday fashion, for the most part, seems to be simple, elegant, and conservative. So I tried to keep this in mind when dressing the older women in the family. But the mom and big sister especially. Long skirts, long sleeves, not a lot of cleavage, very little skin shown in general, but that also helps lend to the feel of Mount Komorebi, which is very cold all the time. It's a mountain peak under perpetual snowfall. Of course, it's going to be cold. There's also the localization of fashion to consider. Where you live determines your fashion choices. When you live in a cold environment, you don't want to walk around in shorts and crop tops. But if you live somewhere that's always hot, it's usually more culturally acceptable to wear clothes that show a bit more skin. Which is, again, why these characters have so many covering outfits. The older daughter also feels incredibly elegant to me. I tried to achieve a higher state of elegance even by using that very pretty dine out hair with the victory rolls, I think they're called. It's a very 1940s-esque hairstyle, and it's stunning and elegant and so, so pretty. I wanted her to feel like she was close with her younger sibling, the older sister. I'm really hoping that as the story in my videos progress, you get to see how their slow drifts away from each other, then rolls back into each other, feels so much more like the ebb and flow of real life relationships when one is going through a tumultuous time period in their life. The younger child, the rebellious child whom this series will center around, the main character, currently, anyways, they wear a lot of black and light blue and ripped clothes as a rebellion from their family. Actually, they wear a lot of clothes I don't think their parents approve of. As the main character, TM, they are going to be somewhat of a drama maker, a horrible little gremlin, a menace, if you will. And the story will start with them on the verge of graduating high school and going to university. I cannot currently choose between Brightchester or Foxbury just yet, but they will potentially be meeting some bad friends who could exponentially make their current bad habits worse. Things are going to get messy, and this little rapscallion is going to rebel against their parents and everything else until they have no fight left in them. Mostly for the drama. I'm not going to lie, I did write it entirely for the drama. They are non-binary, like myself, and I gave them hearing aids, so they are also deaf. But back on the subject of making Sims, on top of giving most Sims I make very distinct color palettes, I try to give them unique accessories to them as well. For example, the youngest child wears a lot of heavy makeup and face piercings to distract from their hearing aids. It felt very realistic because a lot of kids, when they get braces, convince their parents to let them start wearing makeup more heavily, just to draw attention away from their disability aids, or, in the case of braces, orthodontics. The oldest wears diamond earrings with most of her outfits. It felt very suiting to her, especially because of her elegant nature. Mom has on a matching wedding set, necklace, and rings. She definitely got them from her husband, as most wedding sets would be. I like to imagine she enjoys putting them on every day while he gets ready for work. It just feels so sweet. I like to imagine they have a wonderful marriage with each other. Their youngest child's dysfunction is almost certainly not entirely their fault. I think it's more bullying than anything. And the husband of the year, he heard his wife complain once early in their marriage about his hands getting ragged, and he has taken himself to the salon with her every week to keep his nails in check for her. He gets them done in nude or clear polish and keeps them trimmed and filed. He loves his wife, and he takes her opinion under great consideration. There's a great deal to be said for writing a character by building how they look. And when I was attempting to write my own book many years back, which I never finished, I actually drew the characters out a lot to try to get a feel of them so I could write better. So as I sat down with my notebook and tried to write out a fun legacy series for you guys, that's what I did in The Sims. I played around with some ideas before I wrote down everything so that I could make the actual Sims on camera for you. It's easier to visualize where you want a story to go if you know your characters very well. So for me, knowing my characters very well includes knowing what they look like, how they dress, how they do everything from their hair to their nails to what jewelry they wear most frequently. Again, the oldest daughter in this family wears diamond earrings all the time. It could be that they were given to her as a gift when she graduated college, in acceptance of her becoming a proper adult by her parents. Or it could have just been a gift from a boyfriend, fleeting as he was in her high school years. There's a lot that could have happened with her to have those diamond earrings and her favorite silver necklace. There's a great deal to be said for writing a character by building how they look, and when I was attempting to write my own book many years back, I'm never going to finish it, I actually drew the characters out a lot to help me get a feel of them so that I could write them better. You can tell a lot about a character through their design. I have a really big passion for character design for that reason. I draw a lot. As I'm sure you've noticed, I don't show my face, but I have a little Sona on every thumbnail, and as my profile pic. I drew her. I love to draw, and when I was designing her, I had a lot of things in mind. She needed to be very peppy and pink, but also soft and welcoming. I wanted her to have a dragon motif, so I twisted her long, beautiful hair up into dragon's horns as well as pigtails, and I gave her very beautiful pink and lively hair and a very soft and gentle pajama set for her clothes. She is a celestial dragon, so she doesn't need to adhere to human standards of fashion. She can just be soft and sleepy and wonderful. When you make a character, though, you want to keep a lot of things in mind, like silhouette and uh, defining characteristics, hair and fashion, shape language. Um, for silhouette, it doesn't always have to be a big deal, if you will. But let's define silhouette first. It typically means the outline of the character. So, for example, Mickey Mouse has a fantastic silhouette. He is very notable. It's why the ears sell so well at Disneyland. However, you don't need to have the character's outline or silhouette be distinct from each other all the time, though it does help. You typically just need them to be distinct from their background so that they feel like they stand out, essentially. In The Sims, there's not a lot you can do with silhouette beyond giving some Sims baggy clothes and changing the body shape of certain Sims. But if you're telling a story with your Sims, it is best to try to give them all very distinct fashion styles because that can also lend to a good silhouette. Notable features such as hair and fashion. I spoke about it a little bit earlier, but the older sister in this family has a very distinct, notable feature in the hair department. She has a lot of hair. As you can imagine, it kind of makes her stand out in a good way from the rest of her family. And the way it's both rolled up and loose at the same time is a very distinctive feature that you don't see in a lot of people day to day walking down the street. I know every time that I run into someone who wears a more alternative fashion, especially because of their hair. It's easy to spot, and because it's around the face, which the human brain is programmed to look for faces, when you look at someone, one of the first things you see is their hair and how distinct it can be. I also wanted to talk briefly about two of my biggest gripes with the Create a Sim. First of all, is making men. I could make 1,000,001 female and non binary Sims, even AMAB non binary Sims. But making men is incredibly difficult. Admittedly, this isn't all EA's fault. Men's fashion is just not quite exciting. I also feel like the male bone structure in The Sims, the model's bone structure, is just a little too boxy for a lot of characters. For example, it would be incredibly difficult to make a slim and elegant man in The Sims because the bone structure of the game doesn't quite allow for that. You can get pretty close, though, and I have certainly tried my best. The second complaint is the randomizer. So many townies walk around with that terrible eyeball ring, and they look ridiculous. You can see it even in this video. Like, the original fits that Create a Sim randomizes are so terrible just to look at. I wish there were just a handful of preset outfits that each sim got randomized into instead of all the leopard print. It's not even leopard print that's awful. It's the bright fuchsia and terrible combos that just don't look good. One example that pops up in this video specifically is when I first made the mom, the Create a Sim randomizer had a accessory on her. Admittedly, it was a CC accessory, but I don't feel like it's the accessories' fault that it looked bad in that instance. I do appreciate how The Sims has explored fashion, though. Not only have they kept up with how fashion has changed since the game first came out, and I very distinctly remember the fashion of the 2010s, but they also give us fashion from other cultures in game as well. That's part of why I don't use a ton of CC. Between all the packs we have, there's plenty to choose from. And again, I have friends and family on console who can't have CC. But I would still love to be able to get rid of some items too. There are a lot of pieces I don't even think about using, and I would love to be able to filter through clothes, makeup, and hair easier. One of the items that I hate most in the Create a Sim catalog, I actually used in one of the outfits for the older daughter in this family, and it is the eco lifestyle tied together sweater, the 3/4 sleeve one. I don't like the texture on that sweater at all. The ribbing feels both too wide and not wide enough, and the details on it don't appeal to me in any way. Though I keep trying to like it because it is in the style of other clothing items that I like, there's just something off about it. But for things I would never actually touch, most of them are actually in the island living category. And it's entirely because they cannot be matched with anything else besides other island living clothes. Which sucks because some of them are really cute, but it's really hard to integrate them into an outfit for a normal Sim who doesn't live in Sulani. It has been great to see the Sims team working with CC creators like Ebonics to create more contemporary fashions that we would actually see in our day-to-day lives. And I am hoping to see this continue moving forward. I hope to get filming this little series soon with this family. Before I do, I need to do a lot of prep work, some of which will happen off screen, simply due to my schedule for the next few weeks. Next week, I am hoping to show you the Five Nights at Freddy's build and maybe put a fun twist on things for you so it's not just a tour. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and tell me down below what else you would like to see me do in the future. Remember that I upload every Saturday, given that life permits it. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!